Hey, I'm Compton, and in this video, we're going to go to the Mun using only solid rocket boosters. In my previous video, I went to Moho and back using only solid rocket boosters also. I wanted to continue in the spirit of that challenge, and to do another SRB only mission. The only problem was, many of the cool locations that you would want to do a SRB only mission to have already been taken. Which is why I actually did Moho in the first place, because no one had done it yet, and I thought it would be cool. So I decided to go to the Mun, which seems very boring, kinda is. So I decided to make a Spaceplane, just to sort of add to the difficulty level to spice things up. So hopefully if you like this video, please actually like it in just YouTube, share it. Likes help it get more views in the YouTube algorithm, essentially. That's why people ask for likes. They actually do help. So I'll say the ascent into orbit was kind of unique because normally when you do a space plane, you have liquid fuel powered jets in the back. And that's because jets are much more efficient than normal LOX, I guess, liquid oxygen and liquid fuel rocket engines. They're much more efficient, and so you essentially want to use them to get as much delta V as possible, so you stay low in the atmosphere and get as much speed as you possibly can there. And then you kind of ascent up, and that's where you get the efficiency from normal space planes. With this design, I just basically went straight up as soon as I could. Anyway, though, once I got into orbit, I set up the maneuver node. And I gotta say, maneuver nodes are super weird when you do SRB only missions because, in essence, you have to make it so that the delta V you're expending in the maneuver node is equal to the delta V that you have exactly in certain stages. So, like, say, if I wanted to just do, I think I had like 814 here, that's the next 3 stages. Set up 10, no, I'm misreading that, 19, 17, and 15, yeah. So amongst those stages, that was exactly 114 delta V. And the way that I got the encounter was not by adjusting the amount of delta V I was using, but by moving the location of the maneuver node. And so here it'll actually look like things kind of maybe went wrong, but you'll see in a few moments why I ended up doing this. You can see very far away from a standard stable orbit that you would want to see before landing. In fact, the lander itself is designed to land at I guess 15 kilometers about. I think that's the default altitude it brings you to when you hack something over to the Mun. That's like the closest you can go to with hacks. But anyway, what I was just doing there was adjusting my orbit with that tinier stage to get the orbit or the altitude of the orbit that I need, the parking orbit. That's what it's called. That's what that's called there. If you're wondering, like, the actual lingo, it's called the parking orbit. There's like a whole book written by an astronaut. I don't remember who. It might have literally been Buzz Aldrin, I think, about not maneuver nodes, but about orbital rendezvous. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. I just got reminded of it. I don't know why. So, yeah, I guess we're going to the Mun. Buzz Aldrin, second man on the moon. Almost said the Mun. But, yeah. Back to this actual mission. So, the actual landing is always the hardest part in my experience when you're doing these solid rocket booster only missions. It's because normally you can throttle down, you could cut off your engine, reignite it, all of that stuff, and not waste any delta V. You can't do that when you have SRBs. You basically have to do this, where, as you can see, I stop hundreds of meters above and then just pray that that ring of separatrons has enough delta V to slow me down for the landing. And oftentimes it did not, and it fell over. But that time, probably like the 20th attempt, it worked. So yeah, I just got Jebediah out there to do a little EVA activity. Except he actually forgot to plant the flag. Stupid Jeb, you know. He's kind of like, maybe he's being driven insane by being inside all the time from the coronavirus. I don't know. I'm referencing the coronavirus. But yeah, I literally forgot to plant the flag. Kind of sad. Enough about that, though. The ascent stage itself was actually kind of difficult because I could have made it easier, but I would have had to sacrifice some efficiency. So, you know, the normal way that you get into orbit is you kind of set yourself up on some suborbital trajectory, and then you wait until you get to the apoapsis, and then you do a second burn. So I could have actually done that here. I just would have had to have another booster, which would have added to the dry weight. And so you actually really want to keep the total mass of your upper stage as small as possible, because it has a little bit of a cascading effect, or actually not a little bit, a huge cascading effect, where it can make the difference of several factors in weight with your rocket. So here I just had to get into orbit with literally one stage by going like up and down with the pitch. So that was kind of a pain, but it worked. It was actually a bit easier than I thought. Once I got into orbit, I just set up the maneuver node. If you want to get back from the Mun the easiest way, it actually depends on how you get into orbit around the Mun. If you're basically going in a prograde orbit, sort of like east around the Mun, then you just do a burn on the inside of the Mun's orbit around Kerbin. If you do a retrograde orbit, then you do the maneuver node, and you're like traveling west, you do the maneuver node on the outside part of the Mun's orbit around Kerbin. Anyway, though, the idea here with re-entry, which you've probably been watching and not paying attention by other dialogue, is that, in essence, this thing would come around backwards. It has a heat shield on it, but the reaction wheels would be strong enough to be able to flip it back around. And so this is why I like doing Spaceplane missions. It's because you can do fun stuff like this in the upper stage. This thing has no control surfaces. It is literally just the Mark I cockpit with 2 winglets attached, and it is orientated with reaction wheels. You can actually see I'm like almost running out of battery power here. So yeah, this thing, I love planes like this. Just the most simple and elegant form. The only thing about it was that I guess it had a few yaw problems, so to speak. Basically, it didn't fly like a normal plane. And then also landing, it bounces around. That's landing gears problems, though. I don't really blame this design. I think the landing gears have just been buggy always. Anyway, that's it for this video. Please like, subscribe, follow my Twitter. There will be links to that stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay nominal.